next up. She's going to set herself, set everything up. And while you still can remember, you're probably on a after lunch sugar low, which that might keep you excited. Make sure you bring this to the party later on. There are some drink coupons inside, and you don't want to waste them. There are 2 drink coupons from GitHub, 2 drink coupons from Uga. You will need that. So I'm just telling it now in case some of you choose to chill out later at some point. We'll keep reminding you that. And sorry, because apparently I'm not speaking to the mic most of the time because I just don't know how to speak. And so sorry that you couldn't hear me back there. I'll try to speak to the mic. So welcome, Linda. You're familiar with Rails Girls. By now we've been tweeting about it as hell in the past days. So it was a phenomenal event. We had 45, 50, around that, girls, women who want to learn to program. Some of them are coders already, obviously, some female coaches as well. And it was just amazing to see our office filled with women who are curious and want to learn how to code, and some great coaches as well. I mean, not to say. And I want to say, I think 80 girls applied to that. So there's huge demand. We will definitely go do that more often. And yeah, so big props to Linda. Give her some encouragement.
So my name is Linda. I'm the co-founder of an initiative called Railsberry. It's an international one-day workshop for women who are total beginners in the world of coding to learn software craftsmanship. I come from Finland, the land of Nokia, MySQL, SSH, IRC. So you get the picture. There's a ton of great engineering skills over there. Also, Finland is a really gender equal country. So we have a woman as a president, and Finnish females generally rock. Third of all, we have an amazing society that went in 100 years from an agricultural, super poor country into one of the most livable countries of the world. So 3 things we have: engineering culture, awesome women, and a society that has a track record of making change. And still, we don't have any girls involved. And in the technology scene. And when you talk to the policymakers, you hear them giving all these reasons, like statistically looking backwards, universities, and we all felt that there's something fundamentally missing. That software engineering shouldn't be about like having 30 cents more money in your euro or your payroll or anything like that. It should be about creating stuff. And there should be an event focused solely on making technology approachable and fun and easy. So that's how Railsberry was born. Me and Karri Saarinen and Kisko Labs in Finland, we made the first event in 2010, October. And we had around maybe 50 applicants, 25 girls. And since then, the event has gone to Shanghai, to Singapore, to Tallinn. Berlin last week, we had 170 applications to take part in it. So there's definitely a need. What we teach in the events is not programming per se. So we don't, they learn a little bit of programming languages. We do like the first 3 exercises of Try Ruby. Then they get a whole lot of Rails, because I'll show you what they build during the day. And then they get a little inch of UX design, a little bit of tech jargon and stuff like that. But most of all, they learn that you can do quick and dirty things. So you can build things quickly and see your ideas become reality. And that's the most important thing we teach them. I'm not a programmer. I learned to code by being madly in love with Al Gore back in 2001, when he was a vice president of the United States, free Nobel, free Oscars, free everything. And at the time, there was no means of making a website. So me, with my teenage girl energy, I decided to learn coding to do the first and probably also the last website for him in Finnish. The next step would have been to do a little PHP, but I never kind of found the motivation to start looking into that, and my coding career ended at the prime age of 13, and I found it like only years after. I think this is the most untapped potential group that should learn coding. Like teenage girls and their massive amounts of crazy energy should learn coding right about now. when I was a girl, I made my own shirts and I mixed my own nail polishes, and there is absolutely no reason why the girls nowadays who love Justin Bieber and who dream of Marc Jacobs shoes and who form their own punk pants shouldn't be using their creativity and energy and vision on the platform we call the internet, except for one reason. I love Tumblr and Facebook, but they are doing something profoundly evil for my generation. They are putting us into the mode where we only like and reblog stuff, never actually, so we consume and curate things, but never actually create. So I think, yeah, it's their responsibility also, so anyone from there in the audience, let's discuss. And that's why Railsberry is also always about hands-on, minds-on working. So all of the girls open the terminal, all of them get their first experience in actually coding, all of them have to think hard about ideas they have or they want to do. I mentioned that it's been a pretty international concept. It's amazing to see how anonymously sane the people are. The girls, their ideals, idols, dreams, what they want to build and how they want to take over the internet. The applications are just so heartwarming. We work in small groups, so we always work with the local developer groups, and there are small lectures, but mainly it's coding throughout the day. This is what they get. So they work through a tutorial which teaches them really like one scaffold, and what they build up is kind of a Pinterest. So you get to put your ideas, your pictures and your ideas, and the app collects them together into a page. And then there's the Twitter bootstrap that we use to make it pretty. And what we want to teach with this is that internet fundamentally is not a technology problem. Like most problems are more about getting the idea and so forward. And with one simple idea like input-output form, you can do tons of stuff. So for instance, in Singapore, the girls made an application where you could visit the coolest places to see in Singapore. And in Helsinki, they made an app where you could list your prettiest red high heels. What we want to teach also that coding is not lonely and it's not mathematical. That most of the programmers today work in teams that have UX designers, business designers, a lot of international people among themselves, and that like coding is learning a grammar to speak poetry, and everyone knows that girls are good at like speaking new languages and learning new languages, so that wouldn't be a problem. We teach that code is literacy, that wherever you work in life, it's important to know like even the tiniest, slightest bit of software engineering. And in events where we have like around 30 people, maybe 2-3 systematically, seriously continue coding. But for the rest of the 27 girls, they still have like a glimpse of what it's like to build products. They have an appreciation for programmers, believe me, and yeah, they are not afraid of coding anymore. And believe me, I know there's like this whole big debacle of stuff that you're not supposed to say, and these systematic problems and stuff related to women in technology in general. And sometimes it feels like we're so stuck in semantics, like is it okay to call women over 25 girls anymore, that we forget that it's supposed to be fun and enjoyable, and forget to like look forward and only look backwards. So for us, Railsberry has always been an event where we take both boys and girls with us, and it's been easy to find coaches everywhere, and it's been easy to find participants. And for us, victory isn't that Railsberry becomes this huge future feminist organization, but to give the girls first experience in software, and then they join their Ruby brigades, Ruby Tuesdays, JavaScript meetups, whatever they want to. So like mixing the people up. For me, the worst part after my HTML CSS part or like diving again into the world of technology was learning the language. So sometimes it feels like boys made the language of internet for boys, and it looks like that. So a whole lot of, anyways. So we made this thing called the bento box. So bento box is Japanese, it's a lunchbox, and I'm a big fan of the Japanese thinking, and they think that things should be as pure as possible, and you should have a balanced mix of stuff, and you can pick and choose and mix things, but still you should like aim for the purest, simplest thing possible. And in technology terms, it would look like this. So our bento box tries to conceptually explain to total beginners how the different things in technology world relate to each other. And this is not a bulletproof model and computer science specialists would probably hate me, but this is just something to get them started. So in practice, we could say that, hey, you can't really code a website in MongoDB. It is actually something that has to do with the storage and the backend side of things. Or that the JavaScript that you keep on hearing, it's actually something that lives kind of between the style and structure and the logic, so between the front end and the back end. But most of the times when you see JavaScript, it's the thing that makes it so that you don't have to like refresh Facebook every time you do something. So that's the thing that we do. Then, when you hear about technology, it's often like this. So, it's a great company. We use a number of different programming languages, including MATLAB, but are primarily a PHP shop. We have a number of databases, some of which are mine, and the girls get bored around in PHP. What we show them is actually, like Etsy means this. PHP, MATLAB, MySQL, PostgreSQL, storage, and this is how the application works. Same with Foursquare. Server code is written in Scala running on the left web framework using Jetty for a web server. We front everything and so forward. And we explain that, hey, this is actually what they mean. And in the end, the girls all get like a workbook where there's a competition where they put these 10 terms into the bento box. And there's also false friends, things that have nothing to do with technology whatsoever, and they need to Google frantically. Most of them have never heard about these words before, and decipher from the Wikipedia articles and so forward what this actually means. And one of the proudest moments for me is when a group of girls who are total beginners go like, oh, Nginx is easy, it goes into the infrastructure. So 3 things I want you to take with me. When you talk about your profession for total beginners, don't talk about programming per se. Talk about creating stuff and building things. I think that's super important. In practice, when you talk to your siblings or your sisters or your spouses or just boys who don't know anything about programming, talk about the culture and people. Talk about, like, for normal people, programming world is ones and zeros, and it's an introvert world where people sit in front of their computers alone and do some server-side weird stuff that never sees the day of the light. But you guys should talk about your profession, like coding as craft, coding as religion, coding as art. Speak about Y and his foxes. Speak about Douglas Grafford and John Riesig. Speak about the community, compassion, and creativity that is in the technology scene.
Big unicorns.
Yeah, and unicorns, definitely. Like, who doesn't love unicorns? Second thing, we clearly stumbled across something really cool with Railsberry. But in order to make something scalable, we need to look back to the software culture and what made it so cool. So, open sourcing everything. We've already had a lot of great coaches, like hundreds of volunteers who've taken their time and helped us out. Now we actually, Terence, Kari and Vesa, yesterday evening, they put all of our guides, all of our installation scripts, all of our communication materials, all of the curriculum online. So it includes a step-by-step guide of what the curriculum includes. It includes a social glue thing, like how do we throw the events, what kind of stickers you should be printing out, what kind of posters and stuff like that. And it's all on GitHub. So anyone can go there, fork the whole project, make CoffeeScript girls, make JavaScript girls, make whatsoever, do pull requests for us and say that, hey, you should do another example or exercise over here. And I think we already this morning got our first pull request. So that's your community at its best. First thing, speak to your kids about programming. Speak about the stories and the humane side of things. So this is my project, Meet Ruby. She's a little girl, super opinionated, usually really tidy and clean, but one day wind took all her gems away. And the gems are splattered around the world and she has to go and collect them all. And she meets all these magical, amazing creatures, like the snow leopard, who loves to be alone and beautifully and doesn't want to talk to anyone else. And the androids, who all live cramped in a one candy store, and she can't really make sense of because they're all talking so hard. And then she wanders into this forest and she sees this Anthony Gaudian kind of huge castle made out of windows, and 1,200 little engineers build it up while it goes down on the other end and so forth. And she meets Firefox, the fox, and Linux the penguin, and MySQL the dolphin, and Python the hipster boy with the, Django the hipster boy with the Python, and so forth. And if I should ever have a daughter or a son, I would like them to see the world of technology through this lens of magical, radiant, sort of perspective-altering way that software engineering at its best is. Thank you.
It's basically not a question, just simple comments. About 30 years ago, yes, I'm that old that I remember a lot of these times, programming was kind of women profession, in fact. Mm-hmm. And it was dominating, and one of teachers of mine in university told me one day that he actually didn't notice the moment when from a lot of girls around in our course become a lot of boys. But maybe actually what you're doing will change the balance. So,
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I just feel I'm sure you have some comments by the way, but I just want to say I totally agree with that. I was not even taking part of I was not taking part in Railsberry because how busy we were like preparing everything else. But both my parents are computer scientists, and my sister's a computer scientist, and she's a phenomenal developer. She's a senior developer, Ruby developer. She's somewhere here as well. So it's just amazing to. I think this seems like a young movement, but it's not really. And today some people ask us, sorry, like kind of to crash into you. And today some people ask like why the pink, and it's very feminine because 4 women and Piotrek, one guy. We're in the core team of organizing Railsberry, and it sounds like this girlish, pinkish. It started with an idea of Railsberry being like a play on words with raspberry, which was pink, but actually a lot of the stuff, like women also are doing the text, is very serious but it's also fun, creative. It doesn't have to be only pink, but I see so much value in what you're doing that it's amazing, like so that to have you on the stage, I think and it would be great, and we should put definitely more focus into that to have more people next year, more. I mean, I'm not saying it's a goal per se, but we'll definitely try to have move the balance, move the ratio of it next year, because I think it's just good for everyone.
So actually, I love the idea, but I don't only see the girls focus. I guess everybody in the room can relate when we mention our profession to anyone who's not in the profession. It's boring. So basically, if we can get the spin on this whole thing and get this fresh idea with, Django, the guy with the Python and stuff like that, to, I guess, kids basically in general and adolescents, it's just totally awesome. So fire away, I guess.
Yeah. I think there are so many great initiatives at the time. Like it's really the tipping point. Like there's Code School doing great things. There's Coder Dojo like spreading all the way around, and I think we also get comments like why it's so girlish and why girls and why Rails and why. So when I started doing this, I felt like a girl. So I did something that like felt like me. And I think there's room. Like there's many ways to learn music. There's many ways to learn cooking, and this is just one way to learn software engineering. And that's why the open sourcing part. So we want to give. If anyone wants to do Django Boys, feel free to learn. Take everything we've done so far and learn and run away with it. So. Coffee.
Yeah. Thank you. One more question? Yeah? Go.
How do you guys decide which cities to go to, and when are you guys coming to Amsterdam?
We've been talking with Josh about that. Based on the local developer scene. So as I said, that we're always really like working closely with the developers and the local people. And Singapore, we had this amazing guy over there. Berlin, obviously, like a lot of developers. Shanghai was interesting for me, and they have a great Ruby scene over there in China. Just like people approach us, and then we decide what to do. But the idea of this open sourcing the framework is that anyone could do a Rails Goes event on their backyard, like. That it doesn't have to be always me, Karjo, Henrietta, Vesa, or someone coming over and doing the whole thing, but anyone can do it.
And then the names of the organizers are also easier to pronounce.
Yeah, easier.